Welcome to Entertainment, the channel whose name is just a giant lie. So in today's video we'll be watching some of the weirdest fights that have ever been organized. Sometimes you just get tired of the old great fighters from the same weight class fighting and having a fairly even fight. Instead, you want to watch fighters that are completely different, just crush each other. Or have the best fighter just fight multiple people just to see what happens. If you happen to enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe down below. And make sure to turn on those notifications. Let's get started. This is the fight that really motivated me to make this list. And this is the fight between Darina Matsyuk, who is a Russian MMA fighter with a record of 3-1 in her career. Here she is fighting the huge YouTuber, Grigory Chistayakov. I'm not sure what his following is, I'm just talking about his size.
Делает все абсолютно правильно, но зажимает Гриша ее у сетки. Ой-ой-ой, Дарина в опасности.
Darina weighed only 139 pounds, while this YouTuber comes in at an astounding 529 pounds. Of course, at this size you can't move that much. So you go for the patented bear hug against the fence while just putting your entire weight on your opponent, hoping to drown them with your excess fat.
Дарина Матsyuk очень отчаянная девушка.
Ой, пропускает в голову!
Срубает Гришу!
Стучит сам Гриша!
Darina did a great job to stop the action, causing the ref to split them up, or she just lit him up with some hard hits, and he basically just gave up, dropped to the ground and was helpless to do anything, where she jumped on him like a polar bear on an injured walrus. George Foreman was a freaking monster before his meetup with Muhammad Ali. He was feared because of his incredible strength and was considered unbeatable by many. After this loss to Ali, he went away for a while and then came back with a type of circus act.
Come up! Come up! Come up!
There he went.
Come up! Plus, Howard, I'm watching him. I'm spying on him.
Now, he got into Judge there and hurt him.
Foreman had the bright idea to come back and fight 5 men on the same night. I guess he was trying to regain his unbeatable mental state after getting crushed by Ali. But this entire night was just, well, it was just weird. Ali was also there. He was commentating on this event, which is weird that he would be there. But he was, and he made a ton of fun of poor George.
Not without precedent, though. Dempsey, oh, there it was, and was stopped in 2. There is simply no shutting Muhammad Ali up at this point. He is so delighted to see Polite using the rope.
Foreman won all the fights, but by the end of it, it was starting to get really sad. He won 3 by knockout and 2 by decision. But he had extracurricular activities where he punched a cameraman and also some of his cornermen. He was a complete mess and obviously hadn't recovered from his loss to Ali. Gabi Garcia is a Brazilian MMA fighter who stands at 6 foot 2 inches and weighs around 235 pounds. In 2017, she was scheduled to fight Yumiko Hoda, who only stood at 5 foot 6 inches and was outweighed by 80 pounds. Yumiko started her career as a pro wrestler, so she started doing some really dumb moves in this fight, and they apparently scared Garcia.
And Gabby talks about how her striking's got better. Oh, the pro wrestling!
Okay, so she said she got scared because she was unprepared for these types of moves, but she got a hold of herself pretty fast and just trapped Yumiko with a clothesline.
What are you going to show here is Yumiko Hotta. Oh, and she's caught! She's got caught here by Garcia. Hotta is game. She took some knees and another knee there. Punches there by Garcia. Hotta trying to punch back, but it's simply too much here. Garcia throwing some punches here, going for the ground and pound finish. Hammer fist, right hands.
Oh yeah, also Hoda was 49 years old in this fight, and you could definitely tell by the way she moved. Watching this fight, it was hard for me to believe that Hoda is a pro MMA fighter, because her striking game is horrible. So I had to go look at other fights from her, and she is pretty good on the ground, getting all her victories by submission. She just squares up way too much when striking, and plus, Gabby is way too big for her. But I guess it was fun for about 5 seconds. Here we have another giant making his MMA debut, and his name is Ninao, who stands at 8 feet tall. I didn't even know there was someone this tall. But here he was fighting against Tatu, who was only 5 foot 6 inches. The weight difference was 440 pounds. So watching this fight, or better said this entertainment event, because it was clear it was just a show, and it was pretty funny to be honest, especially if you understand and accept the fact that it was just for fun. The ending was kind of rough though. Now, you might say that Tato was faking that injury, but I don't think so. He landed right on his back from a height of about 4 feet without being able to dampen his fall at all. So I think he hurt his back or his hips maybe. The way he now grabbed him, picked him up, and threw him reminds me of picking up a small kid and throwing them onto a bed or a sofa. But this guy just got thrown on the hard plywood. This fight was basically the earliest start of MMA, when wrestler Antonio Inoki decided to challenge multiple fighters from different disciplines to show that wrestling was the superior fighting style. He somehow managed to get Muhammad Ali to participate in one of these fights back in 1976, when Ali was the heavyweight champion. The fight was not what everybody expected, because the rules that were implemented basically did not allow this fight to be an actual wrestling versus boxing fight at all. Inoki wasn't allowed to throw, grapple, or tackle Ali, and he couldn't throw any kicks unless one of his knees was on the ground. Others claimed that there weren't any rules, but that Ali's fans told Inoki that if he hurt Ali, they would kill him, and that's why he basically laid down for 15 rounds, throwing just small leg kicks. In the end, the fight was declared a draw, with fans wanting their money back, since the fight turned out to be a giant farce. Especially since the rules weren't given out until after the fight, when Inoki broke his silence in order to defend his tactics. Now in this fight you can see DC going after Marvel. This is the fight where Batman and Robin took on Spider-Man. It's a 2-on-1 battle with apparently only Spider-Man being an actual fighter and the other just being some regular people trying to be funny.
Spider-Man, I never thought I'd be saying that.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest. Be a bit of a free-for-all, doesn't it?
And I think it's a bit unfair given the circumstances that he's against two of them.
Batman looks like what would actually happen if a billionaire decided to fight crime. He just looks really scrawny and doesn't know how to fight at all, and would probably be dead after the first outing. As expected, Robin got injured early in this fight and just left the scene to call for backup. Unexpectedly though, the backup is the Riddler, who actually managed to do something in this fight. It was pretty weird but kind of fun, and it looks a lot like those parties where the characters start twerking at kids' parties, man. So this is an actual MMA fight between Rousimar Palhares and Dan Miller. But the fake ending in the middle of the fight is what makes the fight really weird. You may not know what that means, so just watch this real quick. In the first round, Palhares thinks that he won the fight because he knocked Miller down and was delivering some crazy hits on him, as he just covered up, so he just assumed that Herb Dean would step in to stop the fight, but he never did. Palhares basically gave himself the win, only to be told, yeah man, you can't do that, you can't decide for yourself. In the end, Palhares won the fight via a decision. Now we have the king of weird fights in Mr. Bob Sapp, the ultimate scary looking person in the world, but ends up being a sniveling coward on many occasions. This time you won't believe it, but he was taking on a fictional character, and no, he's not going to pretend to fight a green screen, which would probably make it funnier. The guy in the costume is actually an amateur wrestler named Akihiro Tanaka, who actually managed to control Sapp for a pretty long time in this fight, but eventually the behemoth got off the ground and managed to win with strikes. I don't think that there is any country in the world that will ever come close to the weird ass stuff that Japan can come up with. This one is pretty original, but pretty sure that they have crazier stuff coming out soon. I can't wait for the first hologram MMA fight. Jose Canseco tried to go on a steroid rage rampage in MMA after getting outed for using performance-enhancing drugs during his MLB career. but he got crushed in his only fight when he fought against Korean giant Hongman Choi.
Almost the entire time. He needs to stay circling with.
Jose goes for the overhand right immediately, and this is what he should be doing.
He's smart though. He's doing a good job. He needs to stay moving. Do not turn your back though.
Tries for a jumping front.
Why does Canseco need to walk out to the ring with a bat? Like, we know that the people there in the arena and the people watching the show already know what's happening. Now, if you allowed him to use the bat, that would be a whole other thing.
He's landing because Choi's so light, every punch removes the red mark.
Canseco down, a lot of trouble now. Here comes the ground and pound.
Anyway, Canseco basically ran the entire fight, and whenever he actually tried to land something, he never really committed to those hits, so they didn't do anything. Then, he tried to throw a kick against an immovable object, which was his downfall. Literally, as he fell down to the ground, and Choi just got on top of him to finish the fight with heavy-handed strikes. Now we have a little history in the making, as Eugene London was making his MMA debut and was able to win this fight against Norm Robichaud, but he had a huge disadvantage. Eugene lost one of his arms in a farming accident, but he still pushed himself to train in MMA and was able to win this fight. Why wouldn't Robichaud just throw left hooks non-stop? I mean, the other guy can't stop any of them. But for some reason or another, he was terrified. It's probably the fact that he doesn't want to lose to a one-armed fighter. That's probably what made him so timid, since he did have 6 fights prior to this one, so he did have some experience. In the end, he still lost, and Eugene showed some great ability and technique in blasting Eugene multiple times with his own clean left hooks. Except for this last fight, do you think that having these sorts of events diminishes the sport at all? I think that it's nice to have a break from serious fights sometimes, unless it's a big name, just accepting some shitty fight to make more money. Thanks for watching this video. See you next time.